Hey everyone, this is Christopher Luxon, the former CEO of Air New Zealand.
This is John Lee Dumas, the founder and host of Entrepreneurs on Fire.
This is Tracy Ibarra. I'm in Executive Solutions at Dell Technologies.
This is Travis Chappell, founder of Build Your Network. If you are wanting to learn how to embrace change
And to navigate through disruption as a leader,
Then listen to the Leadership is Changing podcast.
The Leadership is Changing podcast.
the Leadership is Changing podcast with my good friend,
with my very good friend, Denis Giannoutsos.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsos.
Hey, welcome to the show, Leadership is Changing. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Leaders everywhere confront similar obstacles because people are people, but everywhere you go, leaders are overwhelmed, disrupted, and under pressure. They run from email to email, meeting to meeting. Many leaders are not changing quick enough, which means they run the risk of becoming irrelevant and being left behind. The purpose of the show is taking our listeners' leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. I believe we don't have enough effective leaders in the world today, and if we can get the leaders to step up and lead change, then they can inspire real change. Hey listeners, it's time now to adapt in our fast-moving world, and I want to welcome you to the Ask Denis episode for this week. This is an episode where I'm asked questions by our listeners, or I share my thoughts and insights and experiences from working with leaders around the globe. Team, I just want to remind you that, hey, our Facebook community, the Leadership is Changing community, is available for you to join, so go ahead and do that. And love to see you in the Facebook group, which is Leadership is Changing. And it's a great one, a great group of people who are sharing their thoughts and insights and experiences around leading, around change, and around leading that change, and a whole lot of other topics as well. Hey, just want to call out to the production team who have been working with me up to now and actually producing these episodes, and just really want to thank you, team, for all the great work that you've done, and it's been a real pleasure working with you. And also a call out to Oyo, who's the designer that does all the artwork for me in these episodes and other things that I do as well. So a big call out to you too, and thank you for your help. So this week's question is, why hire an executive leadership coach? Why bother? Why do I need one? What's going on here? So what should I do? Well, the primary purpose of an executive leadership coach is to help you become the best leader possible. Author, speaker, and mentor John C. Maxwell talks about everything rises and falls on leadership. Whether you need to improve your communication skills, your time management skills, or overall level of effectiveness, an executive leadership coach can help. If you've recently been promoted or are simply trying to improve your existing skills to become a more effective leader, then an executive leadership coach can help. And so, team, I'm just going to take you through this today and talk about, why hire an executive leadership coach. Also, if you find yourself in a leadership role or an executive role or an entrepreneur position, it is important that you have someone that you can trust. An executive leadership coach will become a confidant, a sounding board, and a mentor. They will become someone who can help you as an executive or a leader, an entrepreneur, overcome obstacles and aid in the decision-making process. So you may think you know it all, but you don't. There's many people that I've worked with in the past who thought they knew certain things, but they didn't know what they didn't know. And this is why an executive leadership coach can help improve your life, your role, your business. As the cliche goes, it's lonely at the top. And if you're an executive, an entrepreneur, or a leader, it may be hard to find good advice for your life, for your business, or for the role that you're currently doing. And that's where an executive leadership coach comes into play. For various reasons, a friend or a family member may not be able to give you the type of advice that you need. And talking with people at your company could be problematic as well. After all, you don't want to talk to co-workers about how you intend to make your way up the corporate ladder. And you can't talk to the people you lead about learning better leadership skills, because that just doesn't go well. The other thing too is that you can't go to your boss, because that's where your compensation and benefits are associated with. For some of you, you find it hard to go and talk to your co-workers and your peers because you don't want to be seen as being weak. That's where an executive leadership coach can help. A good one will speak your language. They have real-world experience, and they can help you by coaching for you to be your best in whatever you're doing. And so, team, what I want to do right now is just take you through 10 things. Now, there's lots of things, but I want to take you through 10 items or 10 areas that an executive leadership coach can help you with. So I'm going to deep dive a little bit on all of these. Here we go. So number one, crystallizing your goals. So you may have 20 different things you want to get done. An executive leadership coach can help you prioritize and figure out whether the goals are reasonable and which ones are the most important to achieve. That can better help you achieve those goals. You see, because the thing here is this. For a lot of us, we try and spin, if you think about it, an analogy, and you've got these sticks and you spin a lot of plates, or you take on too much. For some people, they have this area, this tipping point, whereby if they take on too much, if they try and achieve too much, then they start to spin out. And if they start to do that, then what actually happens is they start to achieve not much at all. So what I do as an executive leadership coach is I actually get people to focus on 3 goals, just 3. Yes, they've got other things that they want to achieve, but I get them to focus on 3 things. Why? Because if they can focus on 3 things, that's more manageable than 20. And if they can focus on those 3, and let's say they knock one off and they do it really well and get that done, then they can bring in another one. So it's the 4th goal, but they're still only focusing on 3. So that's what number 1 is crystallizing your goals and being very clear about what you want to achieve. Number 2, designing a career trajectory. Now, what do I mean by that? So you want to go from where you are to somewhere else in your career, in your business, whatever that is. So what do you need to do? By talking with an executive leadership coach or working with that person, you can talk about what you need to do and work through that, come up with a plan. But if you're in a career field with a traditional trajectory, your coach can help you get where you need to go to. Because you see, you can already see the path. You've already got a career path. You may need to work through things to get things going for you and put a plan in place and some stepping stones to help you do that. So if it can design a way that you can take your career forward, that's going to be really important. That's number 2. Number 3 is becoming a better leader. You may have a fancy job title, but how good of a leader are you? So you are a leader. You've got the title, but are you very influential? Are people following you? So as an executive leadership coach, that person can help you become the type of leader who commands respect and gets things done, executes, delivers, but has a presence up front that is world-class. So number 3 is becoming a better leader. Number 4 is working on a career transition. Perhaps you want to become an entrepreneur. So you may be in, moving from the corporate world. So you may be in a corporate role today, but you want to take your current skills, your knowledge, your experiences, your war stories, your network, and you want to be out there to go out there and maybe even want to try a completely new career, or you want to go out and start a business, buy a business, possibly even go out consulting, but you want to be an entrepreneur. Whatever your needs are, the executive leadership coach is actually going to help you with your thinking and help you pull a plan together to understand where you want to go next. And that can actually help you with your career transition. And so that's something you might want to look at. For a lot of people today, they are either coming out of organizations due to a lot of restructures or due to the pandemic and other things, companies having to restructure, downsize, and so forth. And a lot of people are coming out of those organizations. They're then deciding whether they want to go off and do a similar role, which could be part of their career and where they want to go, and transition to another bigger role. Or maybe they want to go and do another role, but do it in a different scale of organization. So instead of being in a large corporate, they might want to go and do something, a more senior role, but in a smaller organization, or do a similar role, but in another smaller organization or with a different footprint. Now, the thing here is this. Whatever is the right thing for you is what you need to work through. And the executive leadership coach can help you actually understand where you want to go and what are some of those things you need to put in place to help you successfully do the transition. Number 5, improving communication skills. You might be the smartest person in the room, but if your communication skills are terrible, you're not being the person you can be. Now, if we can get you to be able to communicate, but also connect with your audience really well, be upfront, present well, get the message across, be on point with your message. If we can improve your communication skills, then what's going to happen is your whole executive and leadership presence is going to be a lot stronger, more relatable, more relevant. People can actually understand the link. People can actually understand the connection. People will go on the journey with you. So number 5 is improving your communication skills. Number 6 is increasing wealth. So how can you make more money and then wisely spend that money? How can you increase the profit in your business? How can you look at getting a bigger pay increase or go into a different role, more senior, but take a bigger amount of money in doing that, plus a bigger bonus pool and so forth like that? So what can you do to actually help them put that into place? And the thing here is that an executive leadership coach can help you with that and get you to start thinking through that to help you increase your wealth, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your role, and whether it's may possibly even some investments as well. But they will actually ask you some questions to help you start thinking about what you want to do in increasing your wealth. Team, here we go. Number 7, sharpening your skills. You may have neglected some important skills in your climb up the career ladder. So an executive coach can actually help you improve those skills and help you sharpen that. Because you see, for a lot of you, you've been very busy. As I say in my introduction, you go from email to email, meeting to meeting. For some of you, you're not changing quick enough, so you're going to be left behind, and some of you are becoming irrelevant. The thing here is that if we can help sharpen your skills, help you understand what areas you might need to work on. I'm not talking about just weaknesses. I'm talking about your strengths as well. Because you see, I think if you can focus on your strengths, other areas will follow. I have weaknesses. You have weaknesses. You've got strengths and I've got strengths. The thing, if I've got weaknesses, what I will do is I'll hire people into my organization, or if you're in a large corporate, or if I've got my own business, I'll hire people to come and help me. But I will hire my weaknesses. I will bring people on board that can actually help supplement, bridge that gap, close those gaps. They will come in and for them, it is their strength. For me, it might be my weakness. But together as a team, we're very powerful. So sharpening your skills is number 7. Number 8, managing work-life balance. And so it's about learning how to have a great work-life balance. And an executive leadership coach will help you do that. You see, in my introduction, I also talk about, it's not just about executive excellence, but it's also about personal well-being. The thing here for me is that if a leader, an entrepreneur, an executive is not right in their own personal well-being, then they're not going to be effective. I've seen some people whereby they have put on a huge amount of weight and things aren't really working for them. Now, what do I mean by that? Because that's could be a little bit controversial in what I'm saying here. Well, I'll put in my opinion the way that I look at things. I have worked with a lot of people around the world in very senior leadership roles, but there's very, very few of them that are not fit. And I don't mean just fit. They are match fit. They are really high-performing fit. They're out there exercising. They're out there doing all sorts of things that they need to do, what they're eating, what they're drinking, and everything. They are really on top of their game, not only in business, in their roles, but also between the ears, in their attitude, their mindset, and so forth. And it's amazing to see how their whole work-life balance is really in tune. Now, for a lot of people, they think, if they're really, really senior, maybe they're doing a lot of hours. Some are, but majority aren't. Majority are, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they don't work a lot of hours, because none of them work 9 to 5. They work good hours. But they also understand the balance. They also understand the time they need to take out to take a break, holiday. They also understand when they need to take breaks throughout the day, or they're in bed by a certain hour of the night and they're up early at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., getting ready for the day and before anyone else is getting up. They understand that. So they manage their work-life balance. Now, for a lot of people that I see, they don't know how to manage their work-life balance, or they don't actually have it in place. And so that's the reason why I'm saying for a lot of them, they've actually put on a lot of weight, because they're not eating healthy, they're not sleeping well, they're not doing a lot of things, they're not even out exercising, because they are so busy ingrained in what they're doing. And they're forgetting that there's another part of it. It's not just about the work, it's about life as well. And so you need to have a bit of a balance around that space. Number 8 was managing work-life balance. Number 9, mindset. The mindset is, as I said before, it's a 6-inch gap. It's between your ears. It's about our mindset, is about the way we look at things. And, people talk about the growth mindset, and it's about looking at things positively and looking at things and the good in people and so forth. Well, the thing here for me is the mindset is not just about that. It's about also what an elite executive leadership coach can do is to make sure that you are with the right mindset and that you are moving forward with that right mindset. Number 1. Number 2, what they can do as well is actually get you to challenge your thinking. So you may be thinking certain things about a goal that you're setting or something you want to do, but we're challenging your thinking. Number 3 around that space is actually getting you to think bigger. I remember working with an organization, and I worked with a team, and what we did is we got them to get into groups, 3 groups actually, and they came up with where do they see their organization the next 18 months. And we got them to list all the blue sky stuff, the strategy stuff, the big goal side of things, the big, hairy, audacious goals, things that they were scared about, things that sort of seemed out of their control or out of their reach from actually doing it. And they came up with these different items, and then we got them to present back to the wider group, and they sat there laughing their heads off and having a great time and really enjoying what they wrote down, and thought, wow, that's just amazing what we've written down. But no, well, we wouldn't do that, would we? Would we get there? And so they were sort of doubting themselves a little bit. The question here was, how did they do? Well, 2 years later, went back and did another workshop and went to go and do the exact same exercise. But before getting them to go into their groups to do their exercise, actually brought out the old flip charts from the 18 months or 2 years beforehand. And then what actually happened is they sat there and we got them to tick off all the items that had been achieved. Surprise, surprise, everything was ticked off except for 2 items. What they realized was a huge insight for them. What they realized was this, that their thinking was small. They were limited in their thinking. They started to self-doubt themselves, or they started to doubt the fact that they could do certain things. But they had gone and ticked off everything except for 2 items. Now, just imagine, Where would they have been as an organization? Where would they have been as a leadership team? What could they have achieved if they were thinking bigger? You see, for them, they thought they were already thinking big, but they already had gone ahead and done it. So if they set bigger goals, if they went out there to achieve bigger things, what would happen? And so we got them to go off and then do that exercise and then come back and present to the team. And they've gone on from strength to strength to strength. And they've gone and done some huge things. And very proud to see what they've gone and done. And it has been a real pleasure working with them and their organization. So number 9 is mindset. But an executive leadership coach can help you with challenge your thinking, help you challenge your mindset, and also help you start to think bigger. Number 10, team, is something that a lot of leaders aren't very good at, and that's networking. An executive leadership coach can help you with your network, can actually help you to understand what is your network, where you should be networking, what groups should you be part of. Networking both online to bring them offline, and then the ability to be able to go out there. Are they going to networking events to go and have the cup of tea or a coffee and a sausage roll? Or are they going in there with a specific intent to go in there and get something done? Building relationships is huge. Networking inside an organization is important. Collaborating across silos or across business units is really important. Being able to be in the industry. If you're an entrepreneur or a leader, understanding what's happening in the industry by networking well and getting to know your people, getting to know what's happening in the industry, staying on the cutting edge, staying on the edge and around ahead of the curve. And a lot of that comes down to networking. An executive leadership coach can help you with your thinking around that space and actually help you to understand in what you need to do. So number 10 was around networking. So let's summarize. The 10 items were crystallizing your goals. Number 2, designing your career trajectory. Number 3, becoming a better leader. 4, working on career transition. 5, improving communication skills. 6, increasing wealth. 7, sharpening your skills. 8, managing work-life balance. 9, mindset and challenging your thinking. 10, networking and getting the best out of your relationships. They're the 10 items there, team. Think about it. Think about how does that relate to you. Think about what you need to do and put in place for you to be successful in that area. You see, an experienced executive leadership coach understands what it takes to become the best leader, executive, or entrepreneur. And you can be and possess the tools that, so let me rephrase that. You can be the best that you can be. You see, you possess tools that are needed to assist you on your leadership journey. You've got those tools. You've got those skills and experiences. You've even got some of those networks. You probably just need to build them out even more. You've already got that all available to you. But an experienced executive leadership coach understands what the best leaders need and how to bring that out of them. So the question here for you is this. There's several questions. What will you do to help yourself succeed? What are 3 things or goals you need to put in place today to set yourself up for success? Who will support you, hold you accountable, and challenge you to be successful? The thing here is this. It's not about what you can do today only. Because you see, it does start today. Doesn't start tomorrow, starts today. You make the decision. Make a deliberate decision, but at least make a decision to go and do something differently now. Engage with an executive leadership coach. Get the right person. Team, think about who you want around you. Have the right people. I've done another episode about having the right people around you. But if you can start pulling that together and start pulling the right people around you, have an executive leadership coach that's on your team that's going to take you to new levels, you will see amazing things happen. I know. Why? Because I went and got myself an executive leadership coach. 2, I went out to make sure that I could be a world-class executive leadership coach and help leaders around the globe. And that's what I've been doing for years. So team, if I can help you be successful the remainder of this year and into 2021 and into other years as well, then feel free to reach out to me. I would love to work with you. I would love to take you to new levels, whether it be in your business, whether it be in a role that you want to do, whether it's a career transition, whether it's actually helping in some of your skills, whatever it is that you need, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's see how I can help you, because 2021 can be a massive year for you. You can still bring 2020 home strong. Totally up to you. Listeners, I just want to say to you, thanks for joining me on the show today on the Ask Denis episode. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Change is incredibly scary, especially with the unknown and the unfamiliar territory. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing. So look out for the episodes as they've been released. Download them, have a listen, put a review and a rating, share them with your friends, your family, your network. If there's any feedback you'd like to give me on the show, or if there's any questions you want me to ask my guests as I'm interviewing them, or if you have a question for me on the Ask Denis episode, then feel free to send me an email, dennis@leadingchangepartners.com. Hey, listeners, it's great having you here with me today on today's show. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to you tuning in again. Have an awesome time ahead, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.